Good morning. Welcome to the Self-Talk Sherpa show. I'm Bonnie Roberts. And today I am going to teach you a process for getting clarity, answers, revelation, insight, however you want to think of it, into any question or problem that you might have in your life. So this is a powerful process. It blew my mind last night and again this morning. So I'm excited for that. All right, but first, how was everyone's Thanksgiving? I had a great time with family, and I was able to go on 2 hikes last weekend. And one of the hikes, I got to ride a rope swing. My inner child was so happy. Got to visit a frozen waterfall. It was cold. It was really cold and snowy, but it was a lot of fun. I got to play pickleball with my brothers over Thanksgiving. I went out dancing twice. One night was for 5 hours. I just kept going and going and going. It was awesome. So how was your Thanksgiving? Let me know in the comments. What did you do? Oh, hi, Christina, and hi, Lynn. Thanks for being on here. All right. If anyone, anyone who's watching, if you would like a card draw at the end, let me know in the comments now so I can kind of gauge for time how many people want a card draw so I can leave enough time and wrap this up by 10. Morning sunshine. Oh, you're so cute, Christina. Okay, Lynn says, Thanksgiving was really nice. My family took food to my mom's house in Lehigh. It was a smaller, really nice get together. Awesome. Okay. So let's get, I want to start talking about this process because it's made a lot of impact on my life. Christina says I would love one, but have to hop off right at 10. Okay, so we'll get you in. We'll get you your card draw first. All right. So I was reading in the bath last night this book, Illusions by Richard Bach. Has anyone read this? This is the author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Has anyone read Jonathan Livingston Seagull? This is one of the most mind-blowing books. This one I'm not very far, about a third of the way in yet, but I'm talking about Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's one of the most mind-blowing books I have ever read in my entire life. It's about a seagull, but, okay, so it sounds like it wouldn't be that impressive, but it is so, so deep. And my favorite things are, like, on the surface, seemingly superficial, but then there's such a layer of depth to it that you get it on all these different levels. When I was in college, one of the people I looked up to the most recommended that I read Jonathan Livingston Seagull. He said it was his favorite book. And I was shocked that his favorite book was about a seagull because he was such a deep, like, intellectual guy. I'm like, really? And so I was so intrigued that I just had to read this book, and it's really short. It only takes like an hour and a half to read it. But it will blow your mind. So if you read it, let me know what you think, because I need to reread it. My ex-husband took it when he moved out, and I was like, okay, well, I guess he needed it more than I do, so I need to get a new copy of it. But anyway, I was reading this book, and that's where I got the idea for this, using this as a process. Now, I've done this in my life many times, but never as like a formal process. So the 2 characters in the book are talking about, like, so there's this, it's really hard to explain this book. The subtitle is The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. I don't know if I can explain it. You would just have to read it to kind of get. So there's this handbook. It's called The Messiah's Handbook and Reminders for the Advanced Soul. So the mentor character is showing this book to the other character, and he's looking around, he's looking inside of it, and there's all these little short paragraphs and maxims, and he things like you teach best what you most need to learn, just little maxims like that. And the mentor character says, you just open it and whatever you need most is there. And the other character says, a magic book. And the other character says, no, you can do it with any book. You can do it with an old newspaper if you read carefully enough. Haven't you done that? Hold some problem in your mind and then open any book handy and see what it tells you. Have any of you ever done that? Have you ever just had a question in your mind, you opened whatever book was closest and just started reading on a random page, and exactly the answer that you needed was there? If you've had that happen, raise your hand in the comments, because I've had this happen so many times and it's really cool. So when I was in the bath, I just had a question in my mind about something going on in a relationship in my life right now. And I closed my eyes, leafed through, and stopped. And I read this. Just this little page right here. Every person, all the events of your life are there because you have drawn them there. What you choose to do with them is up to you. And that was so revealing to what I'm going through. I'm not going to tell you the story of it because I'm still like in the middle of it. But I got some huge insights on why I drew this particular person into my life and this particular drama that's going on, and what I can learn from it. Because every person and every event in your life, we have drawn to us for a reason. And then we get to choose, once they've shown up in our life, either the person or the event, once they've shown up in our life, what we do with that is up to us. We have a choice. But the reason it has shown up in our life is because we have drawn it to us. Even if it's a really crappy situation that we didn't want, and there's a lot of drama with the particular person or whatever, we've drawn them there. And so we get to own that. And we get to think, okay, why did I draw this event or this person into my experience? Okay. And then we can choose what we do with that. So that was really mind-blowing to me. And, you know, it skipped way farther ahead in the book, but I was able to get that insight. Okay, Lynn says, yes, I've had it happen where I found an answer in a book by opening it to a random page. And then this morning I tried it again with this book. I just had it on my nightstand, and so I just grabbed it. And I thought, and the thing that I had in my mind was, what is my purpose as a coach, and what does my audience get to learn from me today in this live stream? And I flipped it open and I have not read very much of this book, so this is way farther into a place I haven't read, so I don't know exactly. And this book is interesting because, for those of you who are listening to the audio, it's the collected works of Khalil Gibran. So it's a lot of poetry, just little short essays and poems. Oh yes, it's such a pretty cover. I love this book. It has gold on the edges. Don't you just love reading a beautiful book? But there's something cool about like this book, Illusions, is from the 70s, and it's just so old. And there's something cool about reading an old book, but there's also something so cool about reading a beautiful book. So I read and read and read this little essay here, and I'm like, there's nothing. It's just this story of this man and this woman. I was like, how does this apply to me? And when I got to the very last line, it hit me so powerfully. The line is, look at the darkness with a capital D, giving birth to the sun with a capital S. Look at the darkness giving birth to the sun. And when I read that line, I just burst into tears. It was really powerful. And then I got this whole download about my purpose. And that I am here to give people soulful language. That darkness that people are in, that unknown, that depression, right? It's because they don't have the language for their soul's experience. And when they can access that language, like the sun comes up and illuminates everything. And their life makes sense. And they get who they are. And they can show up in the world because they can articulate the essence of what's constellating inside of their soul. But first, people need to access that language, and we don't have that language in our society. Soulful language is so rare. What people watch on TV, what people see in movies, it's all for, in the news, it's all for shock value. It's for like stimulation, and but it's not soulful, right? People don't have access to really good literature anymore. And the closest thing I think they get is music lyrics. Because music lyrics can be really powerful to help people unlock what's going on in their hearts. But there just isn't enough of this kind of soulful language in the world. So what I do through the treasure trove of poetry that I have in my heart and that I've studied for years, that I can offer to people, and with being an expert on archetypes. So archetypes are patterns that lie deep inside all of our psyches. When people can learn about archetypes, they can understand these energies, these powers inside of them that make up who you are. And when you can put this into words and conceptualize it, the archetypes help you to conceptualize something that is so beyond words, right? And so what I do is I bring to people this language, and finally they can start to understand the powers that are constellating inside of them, and the deeper meaning behind who they are and what their purpose is, and this pull, their soul is trying to pull them into a deeper meaning in their life, but they're just staying stuck in their addictions, and they're just staying stuck on the superficial level of life because it's so scary to go into that darkness. But when you know that the darkness is giving birth to the sun, isn't that just a beautiful image? I've had birth on my mind a lot lately for various reasons. And so that was another reason it was really cool that line came up. But yeah, I had to get to the end of this whole thing before that line popped out at me. Okay, so here's my invitation to you. Use this magic book process. Use this magic book process every day. So just every morning, have some sort of problem or issue or something in your mind that you want some clarity or insight on, and then let your intuition guide you to which book to choose. I've got my whole bookshelf over here. One whole shelf is poetry books, and but I'm not just going to use poetry books for this process. I'm going to use any book that comes to mind and just flip open to it and see what wealth that page could have for you. And you could even take your finger and just put it on the page and see if you land on just, if you don't have very much time, see if you land on just the right sentence. And if it doesn't seem to fit, just sit with it through the day and think about it. And the answer might come more slowly. But like Richard Bach says, you could even do this with a newspaper. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a really insightful, soulful book. So I'm going to do this every day until the end of the year and see what happens, because I'm really excited about this. Your intuition will guide you if you direct it to. The magic is not in the book. The magic is inside of you. And if you trust your soul to guide you to these answers, then you will find the answers you need. If you ask, you will always receive an answer. Now, it may not be the answer you want. It may not be the answer you want, but it will be an answer for you. So I'm going to try it with all sorts of different books. So let me know in the comments who wants to do this with me. You don't have to do it till the end of the year, but you could try it for this week and then let me know how it goes for you. Does anyone want to try it right now? Like, just grab whatever book is close by and just flip it open. Think about something that's been on your mind, flip it open, and then put it in the comments. You're in, yay! I'm excited to know that I'm doing this with other people. I want to hear all about it, Christina. So if anyone wants to try it live, just grab it right now and then let me know in the comments if there was a certain line that jumped out at you. And you may not even know the meaning yet. I have had it happen so many times where I've just read a poem and I burst into tears and I had no idea why. It just hit me, like it hit my heart. And it took me a while after that to figure out, okay, why did this hit me like this? But eventually, and sometimes I had to memorize that poem first, and then the full revelation came. But yeah, if any of you are watching the replay, just try this, and then put it in the comments, because I want to see it if this works for you. I think it's so cool. Okay, before I do the card draw, I just have a poem to recite for you. And this is David White, The Journey. Okay, above the mountains, the geese are turning to the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens for you to find that one line already written inside you. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens for you to find that one line already written inside of you. Sometimes it takes an open sky to find that first bright and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes it takes an open sky to find that first bright and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes, with the bones of the black sticks left after the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. Even as the light fades slowly now, you are arriving. Now, since you're just hearing that poem, you can't really tell what the line was that was written with the bones of the black sticks. So it's in italic. So you are not leaving, you are arriving. That is what someone wrote in the ashes of your life after the fire has gone out. Such a meaningful piece of work to me. Okay, Christina says, it could be that Mikey is wondering if he did something wrong that caused his parents to live apart or not get along. Oh, this is the line in the book. I'm so glad you tried this right now because it's fun to do it in real time. He needs to be reminded that, though it makes him sad, it's not Mikey's fault at all. He's done nothing bad. A book that stood out to me in my room, titled Two Homes Filled with Love. Ooh, and what stood out to you about those lines? I can see how that would be rich with meaning. Okay, so if you're still contemplating that, then let me know when you know. I'm excited to hear what you got from that. Okay, Christina, let's do your card draw. I've got these Archetype cards that I'm shuffling right now. They're kind of hard for my little hands to shuffle. They're kind of big cards. I think we have time for 2 cards for you today. All right, I'm going to shuffle it 3 times. Christina, just ask your ancestors and descendants to guide this card draw so that you will get whatever insight or clarity you need today. Set your intention that the right 2 cards will be drawn. Okay, Christina says, the need to give my sweet 10-year-old son all the love and positive affirmation. Oh, I love that. So did you have your son on your mind when you opened the book? Or like, what was the question on your mind? That is really powerful. I'm just reading back through the part in the book that you read. It was not Mikey's fault at all. He's done nothing bad. Yeah, kids really think that everything that happens, like with their parents, has to do with them, and they take it personally. They take everything personally, and it's just their immature development. It's how every kid is, and so we need to really help them always know how loved they are, and that whatever happens with the parents isn't their fault, right? And they just need so much of that positive affirmation. Yes, parenting and finding balance. I think for myself too. Love that. Okay, let's see what cards you get. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting cards, Christina. You got the Prostitute and the Knight. Now, the Prostitute is one of the 4 survival archetypes that every single one of us has. And this, don't take it literally. It is not, it has to do with selling out on your truth to survive in the world. It asks you, the prostitute archetype asks you, are you willing to give up your soul for a sense of security in the world, right? Does that make sense? I haven't really talked about this one yet on this. I could spend a whole month of live streams talking about this archetype. It's really, really important one. How many people do you know that work at a job they hate just because it pays well? That's the prostitute. Because you're giving up your soul for money to survive in the world, right? How many people stay in a relationship where they're miserable just because they have somebody to take care of them? The child archetype comes into that too, but there's some of the prostitute. Lynn's, I can't even tell you the amazing connections. That's so cool. Let me read the light attribute. Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Okay, Lynn says, I drew the priest for myself this morning. I'm thinking about that today. Interesting one. Christina, writing a book titled God is My Knight in Shining Armor. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. There was a reason this card popped out. The knight has to do with loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. The knight is all about honor. Wow. God is my knight in shining armor. That's beautiful. Okay. I love that you made so many connections. So I wonder how these 2 cards come into play for you. And that's something you can add to the comments later, or we can chat about it later, because I'm really interested. This connection is obvious. This one might not be so obvious. Okay. I don't know what I'll be talking about next week on the show, but yeah, it will be whatever is speaking to my heart in the moment. And I will try to let you guys know Sunday night what the topic of this will be, like I did last night. Sometimes I don't get it until right before I come live. But I have just an announcement. I have a special, the last day is today for Cyber Monday, where I am doing a whole hour deep dive archetype card draw, where we get really, really deep on different aspects of yourself and how they relate to each other and how they're causing the conflicts in your life, how they relate to the relationships in your life, your results. And these are really fun sessions, and you can get some really powerful insights. So those are usually $97 for a full hour with me, but it's only $37. So like huge discount today only. If you pay for it today, you get that rate. So reach out to me and I'll tell you how you can get on my calendar for that. Oh, Christina says, it is obvious. We'll chat later. Gotta hop off. Thank you. Will you send me pictures of those? Yes. Okay. All right. I need to hop off as well. But I will, oh yeah, reach out to me. You can put in the comments if you're interested in my Cyber Monday special with the card draw session. And also let me know if you want more information about Rejuvenate You, which is our 3-day event coming up in March. I've got an awesome deal for tickets for that with an NLP session, 2 hours with me. So let me know if you want more information about that, and I will talk to you next Monday. Bye.